Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Riley, and I'm sick. So, what better way to recover than by making a video at 11:20 p.m.? I feel like absolute ass, and so there's no better idea than to make a Baldur's Gate 3 romance tier list. And this is going to be definitive. This is going to be the be-all, end-all ranking of the fuckability, the hotness, everything of these companions, etc. I think there's a couple people on here that aren't companions. Actually, there's one. I believe there's one person you can't even fuck. So why are they on the tier list? But whatever, we'll go through it. I will act as if I could fuck them, and maybe you can. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Anyway, this is gonna be awesome. I feel like complete dog shit, and also you'll notice that there are 50 million ads playing, and I'm sorry, but I do not have the willpower to figure out how to crop this shit out on OBS. So you're gonna have to watch 50 million ads. You're welcome, advertisers on tiermaker.com. I'm giving you free advertising to the 5 people that watch this fucking video. All right. Anyway, let's almost get started. One thing I got to get out of the way is I got to get biases out of the way, all right? I am a straight male, okay? That means I'm attracted pretty much exclusively to women. At least I think so. I don't fucking know. I'm open-minded. Okay, but I'm going to try to approach this with as unbiased an attitude as possible. And so I'm going to try to consider perspectives outside of my own, okay, when I'm doing this, to try to be as fair as possible. But if those smoking hot babes rise through the ranks, that's why. It's because I think they're fucking hot, okay? So let's get started. I'm just going to go from left to right. So we're starting with Astarion, everyone's favorite little fuckboy, all right? He is a lovable, munchable little vampire man, okay? So let's go through, first of all, physical appearance, okay? He's got those fucking fangs, okay? The ladies love it. The ladies love it. As a straight man, I could really give a shit if he's got fangs or not. But I understand the appeal, right? There's that danger factor of the Astarion that brings to the table, that unpredictability. Like he's got this intense hunger for your blood, which is pretty sexy. It's pretty hot, It's that monstrousness that is so attractive, and you can't get IRL safely. You could maybe try to shack up with a cannibal or two, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. So I understand the raw, sex appeal there. Also, he's a rogue. He's a little elf rogue. So he's a little bit of a little guy, but he's got a rippling 6-pack, just like everybody else in this fucking game. Makes me feel self-conscious, but he's got abs for days. He's a ripped little guy, okay? And on top of that, I mean, elves, in my opinion, it's like Brits. It's like the fantasy version of Brits. I mean, everybody in this game is British because Larian's like a fucking European studio or whatever. But I'm saying like elves are like the UK, lamos of this game, fantasy setting. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. So that docks him a couple points. But I will say, those ears, they're going to come into play because he's a little guy. I'm going to be pounding his little donut from the back, And what am I going to do? I'm going to grab onto those little fucking things, those little ears in the back, and I'm going to steer him around like a fucking boat. It's going to be great. I mean, that's what I would do. And I mean, yeah. I mean, he's pretty attractive. Okay, could be a little taller, but we can't all be Halsen. All right, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. He's scoring high on the physical appearance, the physical raw attractiveness. Let's go into the personality. So personality, he's a little bit of a hottie there too because he's unpredictable. He's a bit of a bad boy, He likes it when you do shitty things, which I think is always fun because, like, in your fantasies, you want someone who's a little bit dangerous. It's fucking hot You know? You don't want a goody-goody two-shoes. We'll get to that later, hint, hint. But, it's attractive. And the other thing, too, is he's got a little bit of a push-pull kind of thing. He's unpredictable. And that's what you want, is you want an abusive relationship where he's unpredictable and you can't tell if what you're going to say is going to upset him or not. You want a little bit of that because that's also hot, okay? It's what keeps you coming back. It's that mutual abuse that you're putting each other through by going through this journey and hating each other for various reasons, but also thinking the other person is extremely hot. So I'm going to give him high ranks for that. That push-pull, it keeps me coming back all the time, baby. All right? I mean, I could say that, like, a down, like a negative, a con for his personality is that, like, I don't know. Doesn't he do some shit where, like, you're fucking and you're like, oh, that's gonna be awesome. Oh, it's when you're hooking up with the hookers in Act 3. He just kind of looks dead-eyed into the distance or whatever when he's supposed to be having the time of his life. I'm just saying that shit. It's a little off-putting, and it's like it kind of makes you feel bad because you fuck and you're like, were you really that into it? You're like an ageless being. You're undead. But honestly, that kind of brings you back in because you're always going to be trying to prove to him that you can fuck well and you're going to be different than all the other people that he's had to, bed down with over the years. So I'm going to actually make that a pro. Going back to physical, one other thing, though, is this guy, he's dead. So a con is that he's going to be probably pretty cold, okay? I'm not going to consider him to be like a fucking corpse because I don't know. It's never said in the game that he's cold like a fucking corpse. But I'm going to assume that he's at least got poor circulation, And I do too. So I can't really knock the guy. But I'm saying I know on me that's not an attractive feature. Like I bed a hot babe. Happens all the time with me, and then I touch her back or whatever, and I give her frostbite, and she has to go to the hospital because my hands are so clammy and cold, and it's a little bit embarrassing for me. So I'm going to say that's a bit of a negative. And so all that being said and done, I believe the pros outweigh the cons to the point where I'm going to put Astarion in S tier. I think he's a little hottie. I mean, I think he's such a hottie that I'm a straight male, and he came on to me, and he was like, hey, let's fuck, let's bone down, fill my little asshole, and I said, all right, buddy, let's do it. So, yeah, I'll put him in S tier. He seduced me, and I'm not even into that kind of shit, usually. Yeah, so let's move on to a fucking dweeb. We got Gale next, all right? So let's start with... physical appearance. So this guy is a wizard, which means dweebsville. But, just like everybody else in this fucking tier list, he's ripped as shit for some reason. But, like, honestly, that's a little bit off-putting. It's like, he's, like, devoted to studying. He's made out to be such a nerd, but he's also got, like, a fucking six-pack abs and shit. Like, honestly... I'd probably like him better if he was just like a twig. It would go with his character a little bit better, or if he had kind of a dad bod, like he's been chugging too many Monster Energies, staying up at night trying to put together the pieces of the universe or whatever the fuck. So I'm gonna say that it's like, yeah, he's got a hot bod, but like it doesn't work as well as the other people because it doesn't really suit his personality. Being Mr. fucking know-it-all dweebus, all right? He's got fucking Creed hair, which is fine, I guess, if you're into that kind of shit. I should go back to a star, and he's got his little white, poofy hair. That's much better than what Gale's rocking, his fucking boring-ass, brown, long hair. Like, I've seen 50 million dudes walking around Seattle looking like this guy. His little stupid beard, too. Okay, his beard's all right. I'm jealous of the beard, I'll admit. He's got a nice beard. Okay, so physical appearance, we're at, like, B territory. He's fine. Maybe even C. I mean, compared to the rest of these fuckers, he's a C. Okay, he's a C. He's fine. He looks like a fucking 90s grunge artist in a fucking bathrobe or whatever. It's okay. But let's go to personality, etc. Okay, so this dude is unbearable. Okay, like he is a know-it-all. He hates fun. Like I'm trying to lick a spider and he gets fucking pissed off or some shit more than anybody else. Okay, he's got a fucking stick up his ass, which is annoying as hell. He's also like low-key, like manipulative. Okay, and not in a sexy way, like in an incel way. Like I'm pretty sure that there's like a dialogue path you can go down where you like fuck him and then you tell him he did a bad job and he just says, okay, well, I'll just blow everyone up. Like that's some like incel shit, bro. Like what the hell? So that's fucking weird. On top of that, he eats your shoes, and that's also not in a sexy way. He does it's a necessity. Like he does it to survive. So it's just annoying. It's not like he's not like eating the clothes off of your body. He could be, but that's not how it's framed. If it was like, oh, I just need one more morsel, your enchanted underwear, mister, then I'd be like, all right, hold on. Okay, Gale, take a little munch. That would be sexy, but instead he's just like, oh, I'm going to die if you don't give me some fucking boots right now, and you just hand him your worst piece of shit armor, So it's just annoying. It's not attractive. It's not sexy at all. It's pretty fucking shitty, actually, all right? But beyond that, it's not even... I think it's... Like, if you had to kind of make a conscious decision to keep him around for the whole game, knowing that you're going to have to keep feeding him and feeding him and feeding him, that would maybe be a bit of a... it'd be a bit of a conundrum. It's like, I want to love you, bro, but you keep eating all of my priceless artifacts, But instead, he does it 3 times. You give him some shit you found that nobody's using, like the fucking 50 pieces of monk armor that you can't utilize. And then he's like, okay, I'm good, So it's not even like he doesn't even have like an arc with it, really. It's just like, all right, I'll just solve this problem I have, It's not like he's living with an addiction like Astarion. He's always sucking blood and he's sucking dick. But Gale is just like, you know what? I'm going to get my crippling addiction to magic under control. I'm just going to handle it. And that's not sexy at all. Like, you want to be the one to get him through that, to be like, no, Gale, you don't need to keep eating my swords. You just need the power of love. It's like, no, he just has an old-ass guy come out of nowhere and solve the problem for him, right? It's fucking stupid. Beyond that, he's a prude. Oh, I should go back and say Astarion, S tier, because this dude, he's into poly shit to some extent, Like, he's fine with you fucking Halsen or whatever, and I think Shadowheart or some shit. So that's hot. That's hot. We just want as much sex as possible. Gale's a fucking prude. And on top of that, he's a simp for a god, all right? It's like, yeah, I get it, man. You got Riz to get with a god or whatever, I guess. But she's the god of dweebs. So this guy, he's going handedly in the D tier. Fuck this dude, all right? Unsexy piece of shit. Now, Halsen, on the other hand, this guy is a certified freak. And he is just a brick shit house, all right? He's fucking huge. He's huge, okay? I will say I don't like the hippy-dippy shit. Okay, well, let me start. Well, I'll get to that later. Let's start. We were principled with this. We have a process. We have a system here, okay? So we're going to start with physical appearance, okay? Now, I am, once again, a straight man. I don't think his face is particularly attractive. He kind of looks like just this big... He looks like a WWE wrestler or some shit. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that chicks are into that some, but he just kind of looks... I mean, I don't know. He looks fine, I guess, but I really have no frame of reference for that kind of shit. But I'm just going to assume that he looks good, okay? I don't know. His long, stupid hair is annoying. It's like this hippy-dippy shit, I don't know. Like, long hair on dudes, I'm just like, all right, bro. What are you trying to prove? Because, like, you as a dude, like, you always have the option of cutting your hair short and having it look at least semi-presentable. You know, that is a luxury. Having short hair is so convenient, let me tell you. And this guy is not utilizing that. Him and Gale, but this guy to even more of an extent. It's like, dude, just embrace the short hair. It is so much easier. It's out of your fucking face when you're in combat. All this shit. I get it. You're a fucking hippie, dude. You know, it's a bit of a laissez-faire attitude. But to me, that shows you don't care. All right, clean it up. Trim those sides, buzz them, you know, and give me a fucking military crew cut, all right? But beyond that, I can't really give him much shit. He's got a rockin' bod. This guy lifts, all right? He must be fucking, like, deadlifting tree trunks or some shit, because this dude doesn't skip leg day, doesn't skip anything day. He's a fucking mountain. The other characters in the game, they know it. Like most of the characters, when you talk to them, when he's like, "Hey, I want to bone down," they're all like, "I understand. Like, I'm not with it, but I understand why you want to, because that guy is a big old hunk of meat. He's a fucking golem. He's a flesh golem if I've ever seen one. And I want to get in on that flesh. I would if I was a straight. Oh Jesus, it's Freudian slip there. If I wasn't a straight man." Making me question myself here. Anyway, before I get into a crisis of identity, let's get into personality. All right. Excuse me. Oh, I feel like shit. This is making me even more deranged than usual. All right. Personality. Halsen, he kind of sucks, but he's also kind of awesome at the same time. Like, his fucking nature balance, astrology bullshit. Like, when I meet people like this in real life, I'm like, give me a fucking break. Are you going to try to rope me into your essential oils, MLM shit, you know, like be your own boss, all that kind of stuff? Or are you going to go, like, live in a national park and do kayak tours or something like that? Like, give me a break. I envy you in certain ways because of your carefree, whatever it goes attitude, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, you need to buckle down and get a job, mister. Like, he even walks away from a leadership position on a whim, you know? So I get it, like, the absolute whatever, dude, but, like, you left for 2 seconds and your entire group went to shit, and you were like, all right, well, everything is fucked. Let me come back for 2 seconds and then immediately leave again. That's just, I don't know. This guy, he seems flaky, you know? He comes and goes. It's just, he doesn't seem like a reliable partner. And I mean, that's also what's kind of hot, though, okay? Because he is into polyamory. He's like, oh yeah, I'll share you with anybody. You go fuck whoever you want. It's just, it's natural. It's nature, baby. That's kind of sexy. All right? Because once again, the more fucking we're doing, the sexier it is. This is a fantasy game. If it was like, oh, I am committed to my partner, that's not hot at all. You know, that's cute, that's wholesome. That isn't steamy, that isn't hot. You should be cheating on all of your partners, even if they don't want you to. That's the ideal way to play this game, because what are you doing if you're not doing that? If you're not going to be doing that in the game, you're going to be doing that in real life. I don't trust like that, all right? So anyway, Halsen, though, I mean, actually, on that point, though, maybe the polyamorous people are less sexy because there's less conflict when you do go and fuck somebody else. Because it's kind of hot to, like, have them be mad at you and then you fuck them calm and get back together again, you know? That's pretty sexy. Although I don't think in this game, I think it's just like you cheat on them and then they're just done with you, which is not hot. So I'm going to have to say polyamory more hot than not, okay? So that's a plus for Halsen, okay? But all this nature's balance, you know, Nature Valley granola bullshit, I could leave it, okay? I could leave it. Him being able to shapeshift now, hoochie mama, all right? We know all the shit about changing into a bear, and personally I find that foul and disgusting and offends my Christian nature to hear about bestiality. But let me tell you, I mean, it's kinky as shit, okay? If I had a man who could turn into a variety of creatures and shit, I would at least consider it, because, you know, they have a human mind. I don't want to get into this. We're going to stick him in A tier. All right, Halsen is A tier. He's a big hunk of meat. He's hella sweet, and I'm going to be beating my schmeat tonight thinking about him. All right, now Jahira, I don't even think you can romance. I could be wrong about that, but I wish you could, because she is a mommy. She is a MILF. She's a mom I'd love to fuck. I don't even know if she's a mom, but she's about that age, all right? She's an oldie, but a goldie, okay? So let's go into physical appearance. So she's obviously a little bit older than your typical person. I think she's an elf or some shit, so it doesn't... I mean, she must be really fucking old, because she looks kind of old, you know, and she sounds kind of old. But let me tell you, I'm into it, all right? She's a badass swordsman. Like, I think she's like a ranger, or she's like a druid or something, or a ranger. I don't fucking know. I don't care. I never use her, because at that time I'm like, I just want to keep rolling with my crew. You know, she comes in too late, and I'm like, you're a hottie, but I don't think I can fuck you, so you're just going to be laying back, baby. You're going to be staying back, and I'm going to talk to you in camp, and you're going to be snarky about all my shit, but that's okay. You know, that's what you're there for. All right. Anyway, but yeah, she's a baddie. She's got that stern mom energy that I like. She kind of comes off like a teacher. You know what I mean? It's like she takes on a bit of like a mentor role, and I think it's really hot I think it'd be really hot if you could fuck her. You know, because like there's always that like. I think it's hot. Like everybody fantasizes about fucking their hot teachers. You know, it's the same kind of thing here with Jahira, because she's like, you know, teaching you like she's in the past games or whatever. I mean, I didn't play them because I'm not a dweeb. I'm not a dweeb. So I mean, like, scores a lot of points for that. Her stupid elf shit. You know, once again, kind of a Brit. But I don't know. I think once again, I'm kind of into it. Like, not Brits IRL are fucking repulsive. You are a disgusting breed. But in the fantasy world, we like things that would repulse us. Okay, so I like fantasy Brits. Okay, like weird things. You're like, ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting. But in real life, they got their gangly fucking shitty teeth and shit. I describe teeth as gangly, but I somehow it fits for what they have. But anyway, I don't think it's doing her any... I think it's just a net neutral thing that she's an elf. And it makes it so that she can be old as shit and wise beyond her years without looking like the fucking crypt keeper. So I'm for it. All right. So physically, pretty hot. Personality-wise, also hot. I kind of went into it earlier, you know, but like, she's kind of like a mentor, you know? And it's hot as shit when you're banging those teachers, man. That's what we want. We want somebody who you're not supposed to... Like, it's weird, you know? There's like a weird power dynamic. Like, she's the seasoned old adventurer. Are you really going to be seasoning her up at night? Like, you know, it just feels odd. But that's what's hot, you know? It's shit that's unconventional. Like, if it's just like a person, we'll get to milk toast bitches later. But... well, it's just like, oh yeah, that's typical. You know, that makes sense. Like, excuse me, I'm blowing my nose. That's boring. That's boring. Give me something that's a little bit weird. This isn't too weird either. You know, she's human looking. You know, even though she's an elf, she's kind of old. You know, so I think it adds a little bit of an edge to her. But the fact that I do not believe that you can fuck her in the game is going to dock her some points. So I'm going to put her... I'll put her in B tier. If you could fuck her, I'd definitely put her in A or maybe even S tier, depending on what the cutscenes are like. But like, because she's a hottie, she's a baddie, but I just don't think you can. She's not putting out. How sexy can she be? You know, so that's got to be a B. All right, we're going with Karlach next. All right. Do I even need to talk about this? Do I even need to talk about this? Okay, let's go with physical appearance. Okay, she is a devil woman. Hoochie mama. All right, and she's kind of a fucked up looking one. She's got scars all over her body. She's literally hot. Okay, she's literally burning hot. You know, that's fucking awesome. Okay, that's just attractive. She's a big lady, and she's burning. And if you touch her for the first part of the game, you know, all you want to do is you just want to touch this big lady, but you can't. You gotta wait, and it's like there's all these other quests going on. It's like I gotta fucking tadpole in my head, and the only thing I want to do is find a way to extinguish this bitch so I can get some of that sweet ass. You know? It's perfect. It's so hot, okay? She's fucking attractive as shit. I will say the scars, you know, for me, they're a turn on, okay? I can understand how you might be off-put by some of that shit, but for me, I'm like, oh man, she's been through some shit. She's been through some shit. She's a fearsome warrior. She's a big warrior lady, all right? And to me, that is some top-tier hotness, all right? Good face, good look. She's got horns. You can grab her fucking horns and pull on them, you know? Like you're pulling on hair, but you're pulling on horns, you know, steering her around and shit. Then, you know, she could turn you around. She could peg you. I think she even does that in the game. She just starts fucking you in the ass. And I'm like, whoo, baby, I am into it, all right? So that's all great. That's all good, okay? Let's get into personality. She, you know, what's interesting about Karlach is, like, I was talking all this big game about Astarion, you know, because he's kind of a dickhole and he's kind of a piece of shit. But, like, what's interesting about Karlach is that she's wholesome as fuck, except, like, she's got a couple things. Like, you can, like, get her hooked on soul coins and shit. So there's certain paths you can go down. But she's just she's a big softie. Like, she's been through all this shit, and yet she's still got this positive attitude and all this stuff. But it's just, it's still hot for some reason. Like, because you're just like, oh man, she's just this big, lovable lady. And it works for her. It isn't detract. It's not like that, you know, Halsen, he'd be S tier if he was kind of a piece of shit, you know. But for some reason, it works with Karlach. I think it's because it's, like, unpretentious. Like, this guy, he's like this good, you know, goody two-shoes, like, oh, we must preserve the balance and shit. And she's literally just like, I got out of hell. I don't want to go back. I want to fuck. I'm kind of awkward about it. Also, like, I'm going to dance around and shit and just be big positive ball of energy. So I think it's great. Honestly, what's interesting is, like, I don't have as much to say about her. She's not that complicated. I think she's just this big, hot babe. So there you go. Those are my opinions on Karlach. Excellent character. It all works out. I haven't actually beaten the game, so I'm assuming there's some sort of tragic ending that makes it even more hot. I know you go on, like, a date with her later and shit. That's so cute. That's so cute. All right, now let's go to my personal favorite. All right, and that is Lae'Zel. So I'm gonna have to stick her in S. Okay. Now let's get into this. I know a lot of people don't like her. It's kind of interesting because I have Karlach and Lae'Zel in S tier, and they are both polar opposites in a lot of ways. Because Lae'Zel is this huge piece of shit. She's kind of racist. She's a total bitch. She's like, she hates everybody. She shits on you for anything you do. But to me, it's like, it's the opposite end of the spectrum of Karlach here. She's just like a stuck-up bitch, and it's doing something for me. She looks like a fucking goblin, too. I think, here's the thing. I'm putting Devil Lady, I'm putting Goblin-looking, you know, Gith Yankee bitch up here. This is a fantasy game. The hottest people are the ones that couldn't exist. Because you're just like, man, I wish I had some green bitch who has a stick up her ass. And maybe she could fit something else up there, if you know what I mean. If I don't want a real person in my fucking fantasy thing. I just go on Tinder and get rejected by everybody if I wanted that. Okay? So, for that reason, the green alien shit, at first I saw her, I was like, what the fuck is this thing? And I was going on, I'm like, alright, she's a hottie, she's a baddie, alright? Total piece of shit, wants to, like, murder everybody, and just, looks down her nose on everything, her tiny little nose, and I'm for it. Total piece of shit. Anyway, yeah. So I'm kind of jumping all over with her because to me it's kind of all this one thing. Like she's like this warrior, but she's not huge. She's not like a big lady like Karlach, but her personality is big. Like she's assertive as hell. Like she would just like, like there's in the first sex scene you have with her, she wants to like dom you or whatever, and you can succeed on like an intimidation check to let you take control of the situation. But why would you want to? I would like to just, go along for the ride with this fucking fighter lady It's hot as hell. So yeah, Lae'Zel, she's top tier. She's got those eyes too, you know, like it's kind of like her skin has makeup built into it. It's that fucking eyeshadow or whatever. This makes her hot. She's got weird fucked up ears. Actually, they would kind of disturb me. They have like little ridges on them. I'd be afraid that like if I was yanking on those things too hard, it'd rip like tissue paper or some shit. But that's okay. We can work past that. Also, I would be a little bit weirded out by the fact that like her reproductive organs don't do anything with that shit. As I found out later, I was like, "What the fuck?" Something comes in and lays eggs or something like that, but then individuals aren't like giving birth or whatever. So it'd just be like, why do you have a vagina if not to, you know? I don't understand the logistics of that, but you know what? Once again, it's kind of bringing me in. It's like that kind of apprehension and repulsion that kind of like makes me want more. You know what I mean? Like that's a real thing. There's some people where, you know, IRL, where you're kind of weirdly attracted to them because they're a little bit ugly or they're a little bit like, you're kind of like, ugh, like this person looks fucking strange and kind of, you know, gross or whatever. But that kind of brings you in. That's kind of how I am with Lae'Zel. All right. But she's S tier. All right. She's all the way in S tier. All right. Minthara, here's the thing. So physical attractiveness, I think she's pretty hot. She's pretty damn fucking hot. She's got that fucking dark elf skin and shit. But I think that like her old woman voice is a little bit off-putting in terms of like raw sexuality. It sounds kind of like a librarian, you know. But she looks so angry all the time. Like, look at Lae'Zel. Like, Lae'Zel is angry all the time, and she's like a piece of shit. But like, she's got kind of this softness to her eyes. Fucking Minthara is always like, she looks like she wants to murder everybody. Okay, and I think that's awesome in a lot of ways. But I think it's a little too much sometimes. And you know, I'm for it. Like, she's a genocidal freak bitch. And that scene where it's like you kill all the tieflings and you purge the world of their filth, and then she sucks you off. That is hot, hot, hot. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, that's fucking hot. But I think it's like, it's a little much compared to like some of these other S tiers up here. All right. She's a little less nuanced, I would say. I mean, I haven't done as much in Act 3 as other people have or whatever, so like maybe her story unfolds a little bit more, but she's kind of like a Nazi, you know. So it's like, I'm like, okay, I mean, I get it, you know. Like Lae'Zel, it's like she's got this complex story where she's a piece of shit, and then she can kind of realize she's a piece of shit, and she's still kind of a piece of shit, but she stops being as much of a piece of shit. I said piece of shit 50 million times in a row right there. But I think with Minthara, it's like, yeah, like she kind of redeems herself, kind of ish, but like not really. Like she's still just kind of like trash, you know. Like, so I've kind of jumped into the personality already, because like even with Astarion is a little naughty boy. All right, he's a little naughty boy, but he's got some complexity to his character, right? He's like been dealt a shit hand, been tortured by this horrible omnipotent being for his entire life. So it's like, yeah, of course he'd be a little fucked up, and he's got redeeming qualities though, you know. Minthara, it's like, yeah, like she started off as a piece, like she's kind of a spoiled piece of shit. Like she grew up in the Underdark or whatever, I think, or something like that, and she was like a nobility, you know. So she was like born into money. Didn't really have much struggle until Orym came along and then was like, you know, brainwashed her into the absolute. And then that became her struggle story. But it's nowhere near as much of a struggle as these folks, right? Like, fucking Astarion, you know, centuries under this evil vampire man. Karlach serving under this devil when she was betrayed by a friend, which is excuse me, Gortash. Lae'Zel serving the, basically brainwashed from the get-go and raised in, like, horrible society where she has to, like, murder everybody. But, like, she was just born like a noble and is just a piece of shit and, like, doesn't trust anybody, and then, like, was betrayed and brainwashed and all this shit. And it's like, that's kind of hot. So, like, it's hot, but, like, not as hot as this, all right? So, Minthara, for me, she's an A tier, okay? She's an A tier. I was thinking I was going to, when I started this tier list, I was thinking I'd put her in S tier, but honestly, it's the snooty, stuck-up bitch thing that, like, is a little, like Lae'Zel is a stuck-up bitch, but it's not snooty. It's not, like, pretentious as much. It's like, this person is just, like, an asshole, And, like, she kind of is. Like, she looks down her nose on people, But, like, this one, it's like the rich people who grew up, like, across the town from you who, like, think they're better than everyone and you just fucking hate them. Like, she's got that, and it's kind of annoying to me. It's, like, aggravating in a different way that isn't quite as sexy. But the fact that she's, like, a bad bitch and she can suck a fucking dick like no other, especially after the atrocities that you commit, that is commendable, and that is deserving of an A-tier position. All right. Now, this is the devil lady. I don't remember what her name is. It is the devil lady that Wyll is a little bitch to. She's going in S tier. Okay, I'm putting a lot in S tier, but this is hot. Because she's literally a devil. Okay, she's literally a devil. She has a little bitch, and then it's like, and then she wants to fuck you, and it's kind of like, it's like manipulative. It's like everything that she's doing has like an ulterior motive, and to me that's hot. It's like, she's doing it to hurt Wyll, and to me she's just this manipulative, conniving bitch. She's sexy as shit. She's got her fucking big old rack hanging out. She can, like, teleport you to hell and fuck you there. This is just there. She's got everything going for her. Like, I don't really have to divide it into physical versus, like, personality shit, because, like, look at her. She's a fucking devil bitch. She's a literal succubus right there. It's an incredible thing, and I wish that a hot devil lady would come tempt me, because I would be, she'd immediately succeed at tempting me. I'd be like, yes, I will travel to the hell. I don't care if I end up like a hellraiser creature. I want to have sex with you, and I damn the consequences. I don't care if my soul is damned for eternity. In fact, it would probably be more hot if it was, And I just think back fondly on the time that I sold my soul to have sex with this hot lady. One potential downside I could see to her physical attractiveness is she probably has kind of the scent of brimstone, aka sulfur, aka rotting eggs, which might be a little bit of a turnoff, but, like, honestly, it balances out by the fact that she is filling my stones to the brim every time I see her, and then emptying them, hopefully, when she sucks my fucking soul out of my rod. So, that to me is an easy S tier. Good shit. Fuck Wyll and his stupid little bitch ass. We'll get to him in a second. So next we have to go with Shadowheart. Now this is going to be probably my most controversial take, especially as a straight man. You'd think, oh, like a generic white bitch, my cup of tea right there. But here's the thing. Okay, physical attractiveness. Yeah, she's hot. But, like, her dumbass fucking haircut at the beginning of the game with the fucking, like, just, like, 90-degree angle bangs shit, you know what I'm talking about? Like, that shit looks stupid, okay? It looks stupid. It's like, whatever. She's not even, like, that attractive. She's just, like, a white woman, and, like, she has a dumb haircut. And, yeah, she's got, like, a good body, but who doesn't? Everybody does in this tier list, right? So she's just kind of a woman, okay? Which is, that's a good thing to be, in my opinion. But there's no pizzazz to it. Like Jahira, she's kind of the same way. She's just kind of like a human, elf woman, but she's got those MILF vibes. What does Shadowheart have? She's like, a 20-something-year-old goth chick. It's like, all right, that's fine. It's not doing a whole lot for me. It's fine. I'd say like looks are like B tier. I'm like, all right, yeah, she looks fine, I guess. And then like later when she fixes her hair, too little, too late is all I'm saying. She could have started out with the good haircut, but I don't know, put a little effort into her appearance. But who am I to judge? Anyway, but when she gets the better haircut, she's a lot more attractive, especially if she embraces her destiny as being a piece of shit shadow person. She looks a lot more hot than when she becomes a saloonite and betrays her matron. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go to the personality. The personality is like, it's like fine. It's kind of like boring though. It's like, oh, I understand what they were going for. I understand the appeal, right? It's like she has amnesia, this voluntary amnesia with this dark backstory where, like she was kidnapped and it was like, oh, actually she's been lied to this entire time and yada, yada, yada. But it's just like she's so like, she's got like, what the fuck is the person, the Lady of Shadows or whatever. I can't even remember what the name of it is, even though it's mentioned like 50 million times in the game. Anyway, she's got her, the fucking balls in her mouth, and she won't shut the fuck up about it. Like, she sounds like a fucking priest trying to shove her religion down your throat. And just like, dude, why are you such a simp for this god who's like trying to erase your being or whatever? It's just like, think for yourself. I mean, I could say the same thing about like Lae'Zel. Like Lae'Zel was brainwashed to like, excuse me, to follow like the big bad necromancer lady or whatever. But like, oh Jesus, my fucking nose, a lot of pressure going on there. But like Lae'Zel looks like a goblin. She's like she's a true piece of shit, which is hot. Okay. Like fucking Shadowheart, she's always trying to get you to take the path of least resistance. She's always like, oh, if you can like trick people into doing what you want, then that's the way to go. And I'm like, Snoresville, this is a fantasy game. Like Lae'Zel's like, we should have killed those fuckheads. And I'm like, I agree, because that would be more fun. And she just has more chaos in her heart, than fucking Shadowheart. I'm comparing the two of them because they're diametrically opposed in the game. I mean, I thought it was hot when Shadowheart went to go kill Lae'Zel, to be honest. I'm like, oh, finally she's doing something that's kind of interesting instead of just being like a pacifist. I mean, she's not a pacifist, but it's just like, she's always trying to, get you to fucking do boring shit. So, hot take, because a lot of people love Shart. And also, Shadowheart, what kind of fucking name is that, dude? Fucking stupid shit. All right, so Shadowheart, she's going in C tier, baby, and I'm gonna hear a lot from the 3 people who watch this video in the comments. I can just tell, but she's got nothing on Karlach or Lae'Zel or this devil bitch. I mean, personally, I would fuck her before I'd fuck Astarion because I just am straight. But I'm trying to be impartial here. I understand Astarion's appeal. Now, speaking of understanding appeal, I do not understand Wyll's appeal at all. So let's start off with physical looks. Yeah, he looks good. He's a good-looking guy. Okay, he's a good-looking dude. So is everybody. Okay, so he looks fine. So he's like a B tier for looks, but he's just kind of a dude. He's just a good human being. Whatever. Later he gets horns, like maybe bumps him up to like an A, but not really even, because like, I don't know. It's like he's not a full. He's just a guy with like devil horns. He's not like red. He's not like a fucking full on devil with like a tail and all that shit. He's just kind of like a guy with horns. It's like, okay, yeah. So I'd say that would bump him up to an A. He's just a little more interesting than like just being a guy. But I really don't have much to say. You know, I'm not attracted to dudes, so I don't really know what to commentate on. He's just kind of a good-looking guy. He's got a good bod. But let's get into personality, okay? This dude is so forgettable, okay? Which is interesting because he's like a warlock, right? He's like signed away his soul to a devil, which we think would be interesting, but somehow he isn't at all. You know, it's like he's just kind of like a good guy, you know? Like, even the reason that he sold his soul to a devil was to, like, save a town. Like, are you kidding me? There wasn't even, like, a little bit of selfishness in his reasoning for doing that, you know? It's like, dude, that isn't hot. Being a good guy, just a straight-up good guy, is not hot. Like, he's so selfless and all that shit. That is fucking the least attractive thing, you know? You want somebody, like even Karlach. Karlach is kind of selfish. Like her main thing for a while is wanting to touch people so that she can fuck them. And I'm like, I can relate to that, baby. That's me. You know, it's like that is me right there. You know what isn't me? Selling my soul to save a town. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I would not do that. I don't relate to that. That is unrealistic in a way that just isn't hot. Like Astarion, you know, he's unrealistic in a way that is hot. He's a vampire. He's dangerous. He's a beast. This guy is just a guy who can get horns later if you save Karlach. You know, like who gives a shit? Snoresville. Like throughout the story, it's like all it is. He's like, I'm the blade of the frontiers. And he's like, it's supposed to be this big dark secret that he's got like a warlock patron or whatever. But it's like, dude, literally, who gives a shit? I don't give a shit, dude. You're a good guy. You've never done anything bad. I mean, like, you almost killed Karlach, but then like he like immediately sees that he's wrong if you try to convince him at all that he shouldn't kill Karlach. It's like, dude, there's no conflict there. This guy has no conflict. He's a fucking dancer. Also, he's from nobility, too. Snoresville. So, Wyll, you were going in the D tier, my friend. So, I think Wyll is the worst companion in terms of romanceability. And just story, he's just boring as hell. But this is a good tier list right here, all right? This is a solid tier list. I think this is the definitive tier list. For the ranking romanceable people and one potentially not romanceable person in Baldur's Gate 3. This is the most important video that I've ever made, and I've made it while I'm babbling and delusional, and I really want to go to bed. You can probably tell that I was kind of losing steam by the end of this. At the very beginning, I was pretty motivated to make this video. I was just like, oh, that sounds like fun. But by now, I am ready to be done with this. I'm ready to go to bed and blow my nose and be miserable in bed. So, thank you for watching. This is a complete waste of your time, and you're a stupid idiot for watching this. And if you disagree with me, you're wrong. So, go fuck yourself. Hope you die. All right, bye-bye.